Hello everyone and welcome back to the Library of the Weird. I hope you're doing well. I certainly am. And I know this video is long overdue, but as you know, sometimes life gets in the way. I had different priorities, but I'm back on track and we have 4 months left in the first half of 2024. And this is why I want to talk to you about my most anticipated horror novels of the first half of 2024. So there will be a ton of horror books coming out in 2024. For some, we don't have a release date yet. For example, there's probably going to be another Stephen King novel. But yeah, we don't know when this will be coming out. And this is why I only want to talk about the first half of 2024. And also, I will only be talking about novels. I won't be talking about novellas, about short story collections or anthologies or stuff like that. There will maybe be another video about that, but today I just want to talk about the novels I'm most excited for. And we have 7 novels to talk about, but before we get into the novels that will be coming out in March, April, May and June, there are some books that are already out that were released in January and February, and I want to mention some of these just quickly here. So the first of these is a book I'm currently reading right now, and this is Among the Living by Tim Lebbon. This is a horror novel taking place on an Arctic island. We're following a group of illegal miners or illegal explorers. They want to find rare metals, rare elements, and they want to sell the rights to big mining companies. And we're following another group of environmentalists who are on the same island as well. And as it turns out, the explorer team finds something really, really gruesome. They're finding long dead bodies, probably dead for over 40,000 years. And yeah, it all looks really, really weird, and then stuff starts happening, and I'm halfway through, and I think this is a very good book. I like it very much. This came out in February. Then there's What Feast at Night by T. Kingfisher, which is the sequel of her book What Moves the Dead, which was a retelling of The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe, and I liked it quite a lot. I haven't read this one yet. This also came out in February. I think this will be good as well. And I've also already ordered The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Katherine Arden, which some of you probably know from her The Bear and the Nightingale trilogy, which was historical fantasy taking place in historical Russia, and was a retelling of some of the folk tales taking place there. And The Warm Hands of Ghosts I think it will feature vampires, and it's taking place during World War II. This probably won't be like a lot of horror, but it's going to feature vampires, so I think this will be great as well. But now let's get into the books that will be coming out in March, April, May and June. And I will be reading the blurbs to you because I think it's like the easiest way to talk about what a book is about. And then I will give you my personal input on that. So the first book I'm going to talk about is The Haunting of Velkwood by Gwendolyne Kiste. This will be released on March 5th by Saga Press. And the blurb reads as follows. From Bram Stoker award-winning author Gwendolyne Kiste comes a chilling novel about 3 childhood friends who miraculously survive the night everyone in their suburban neighborhood turned into ghosts. Perfect for fans of Yellow Jackets. The Velkwood vicinity was the topic of occult theorists, tabloid 1-hour documentaries, and even some pseudo-scientific investigations as the block of homes disappeared behind a near impenetrable veil that only 3 survivors could enter, and only one has in the past 20 years, until now. Talitha Velkwood has avoided anything to do with the tragedy that took her mother and 8-year-old sister, drifting from one job to another, never settling anywhere or with anyone, feeling as trapped by her past as if she was still there in the small town she so desperately wanted to escape from. When a new researcher tracks her down and offers to pay her to come back to enter the vicinity, Talitha claims she's just doing it for the money. Of all the crackpot theories over the years, no one has discovered what happened the night Talitha, her estranged former best friend Brad, and Grace escaped their homes 20 years ago. Will she finally get the answers she's been looking for all these years, or is this just another dead end? So this is going to be a suburban ghost story. I think it's also marketed as LGBTQ. I know Gwendolyne Kiste only from her story in Into the Forest, which is an short story anthology featuring only female authors and stories that all have something to do with Baba Yaga. I also like ghost stories a lot. I'm a big fan of Emma James's ghost stories, for example, and I have a collection of Irish ghost stories, which I've been planning to read for months. Sometime I will probably get to that one. So yeah, I'm really excited for that book. And again, this is coming out March 5 by Saga Press. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Angel of Indian Lake by Stephen Graham Jones. This will be released on March 26 by Saga Press as well. And before I read you the blurb, I just want to say that the blurb will probably contain some spoilers, because this is the 3rd book in the Lake Witch trilogy. So the blurb will probably spoil some things that happened in the 2 books prior. It's been 4 years in prison since Jade Daniels last saw her hometown of Proof Rock, Idaho, the day she took the fall protecting her friend Letha and her family from incrimination. Since then, her reputation and the town have changed dramatically. There's a lot of unfinished business in Proof Rock, from serial killer cultists to the rich trying to buy Western authenticity. But there's one aspect of Proof Rock no one wants to confront, until Jade comes back to town. The curse of the Lake Witch is waiting, and now is the time for the final stand. So the first 2 books in the trilogy are My Heart is a Chainsaw and Don't Fear the Reaper. I don't have the first one here, I just listened to it, but yeah, this is the second one. I really like these books. These are slasher novels featuring Jade Daniels, our Native American main character. I think the concept of the books is really interesting. I learned a lot about Native culture. I really, really do like these books, and if you haven't, please read the first 2, and then again, The Angel of Indian Lake is coming out on March 26. So while researching for this video, I checked some lists of books that are coming out this year, and I, of course, gravitated to the authors I already know, because those are my most anticipated books. But sometimes there's just a cover and a title that grips your full attention. And the next book is one of these. This is Diavola by Jennifer Thorne, coming out on March 26 as well by Thorne Nightfire. And I think this cover is amazing. And I'll read you the blurb. I think the story of the book is great as well. Anna has only 2 rules for the annual Pace family destination vacations: treat lightly and survive. It isn't easy when she's the only one in the family who doesn't quite seem to fit. Her twin brother Benny goes with the flow so much he's practically dissolved, and her older sister Nicole is so used to everyone, including her blandly docile husband and 2 kids, falling in line that Anna often ends up in trouble for simply asking a question. Mom seizes every opportunity to question her life choices, and Dad, when not reminding everyone who has paid for this vacation, just wants some peace and quiet. The gorgeous, remote villa in a tiny Monte Perso seems like a perfect place to endure so much family togetherness, including Benny's demanding new boyfriend, it's Christopher, not Chris, that is, until things start going off the rails. The strange noises at night, the unsettling warnings from the local villagers, and oh, the dark, violent past of the villa itself. Jennifer Thorne skewers all too familiar family dynamics in the sly, wickedly funny vacation gothic. Beautifully unhinged and deeply satisfying, Diavola is a sharp twist on the classic haunted house stories, exploring loneliness, belonging, and the seemingly inescapable bonds of family mythology. So again, a ghost story, probably a haunted house story, and also featuring some family drama. Those are things I do like. I like the title, I like the cover. I'm really excited for this book. And again, this is coming out on March 26th. It's called Diavola by Jennifer Thorne. And speaking of awesome covers, the next book is All the Fiends of Hell by Adam Nevill, coming out on April 2nd by Ritual Limited. The Red Knight of Bells heralds global catastrophe, annihilation on a biblical scale. Seeing the morning is no blessing. The handful of scattered survivors are confronted by blood-red skies and an infestation of predatory horrors that never originated on Earth, an occupying force intent on erasing the remnants of animal life from the planet. Across the deserted landscapes of England, bereft of infrastructure and society, the Overlooked can either hide or try to outrun the infernal hunting terrors, until rumor emerges claiming that the sea may offer an escape. Ordinary, unexceptional, directionless Carl is the one of the few who made it through the first night. In the company of 2 orphans he flees south, but only into horrifying revelations and greater peril, where a transformed world and expanding race of ravening creatures await. Driven to the end of the country and himself, he must overcome alien and human malevolence and act in ways that were unthinkable mere days before. So Adam Nevill is probably mostly known for his folk horror. He's written The Ritual, which also became a major movie. And I've also read, I think, The Reddening and Cunning Folk, which are all folk horror stories. This one sounds really, really different because this is basically an alien invasion, and it kind of feels like a post-apocalyptic, or in this case really apocalyptic. I get feelings of Between Two Fires by Christopher Buehlman, just in modern day England. I'm really, really excited for this one. I usually really do like his books, and I don't think this will be bad at all. I think this will be very, very good. Again, this is All the Fiends of Hell by Adam Nevill, coming out on April 2nd. And again, speaking of alien invasions, next book is Ghost Station by S.A. Barnes, coming out on April 9, also by Tor Nightfire. Space exploration can be lonely and isolating. Psychologist Dr. Ophelia Bray has dedicated her life to the study and prevention of ERS, a space-based condition most famous for a case that resulted in the brutal murders of 29 people. When she's assigned to a small exploration crew, she's eager to make a difference, but as they begin to establish residency on an abandoned planet, it becomes clear that the crew is hiding something. While Ophelia focuses on her new role, her crewmates are far more interested in investigating the eerie, ancient planet and unraveling the mystery behind the previous colonizers' hasty departure than opening up to her. That is, until their pilot is discovered gruesomely murdered Is this Ophelia's worst nightmare starting, a wave of violence and mental deterioration from ERS, or is this something more sinister? Terrified that history will repeat itself, Ophelia and the crew must work together to figure out what's happening. But trust is hard to come by, and the crew isn't the only one keeping secrets. So this sounds very much a bit like her last novel, which was Dead Silence. It also takes place in space. It also features a female main character, but it's not on an abandoned space station. It takes place on an abandoned planet. And from what we can guess from the blurb, I think there are some things hiding, some things that are responsible for the planet being abandoned. I'm really excited for this one. I liked Dead Space, and I probably will like this one. And again, this is Ghost Station by S.A. Barnes, coming out on April 9th. And the second to last book I want to talk about is Indian Burial Ground by Nick Medina, coming out April 16th by Berkley. All Noemi Brassard wanted was a fresh start. With a new boyfriend who actually treats her right and a plan to move from the reservation she grew up on, just like her beloved uncle Louis before her, things are finally looking up for her, until the news of her boyfriend's apparent suicide brings her world crumbling down. But the facts about Roddy's death just don't add up, and Noemi isn't the only one who suspects something menacing might be lurking within their tribal lands. After more than a decade away, Uncle Louis has returned to the reservation, bringing with him a past full of secrets and horror and what might be the key to determining Roddy's true cause of death. Together, Noemi and Louis set out to find answers, but as they get closer to the truth, Noemi begins to question whether it might be best for some secrets to remain buried. So I know Nick Medina from his book Sisters of the Lost Nation, which I liked a lot. I think this book was really, really good. It also takes place on a reservation mostly in a casino, also featuring a native main character and the problems natives have to face, and especially native women. And because of that, I don't think I will be disappointed with that one. And I think Indian Burial Ground sounds a lot more supernatural than this one did. So I'm even more excited because I like supernatural horror. And again, this is Indian Burial Ground by Nick Medina, coming out on April 16th by Berkley. And last but not least, there's Horror Movie by Paul Tremblay, coming out on June 11 by William Morrow. In June 1993, a group of young guerrilla filmmakers spent 4 weeks making Horror Movie, a notorious disturbing art house horror flick. The weird part, only 3 of the film's scenes were ever released to the public, but Horror Movie has nevertheless grown a rabid fan base. 3 decades later, Hollywood is pushing for a big budget reboot. The man who played the Thin Kid is the only surviving cast member. He remembers all too well the secrets buried within the original screenplay, the bizarre events of the filming and the dangerous crossed lines on set that resulted in tragedy. As memories flood back in, the boundaries between reality and film, past and present, start to blur. But he's going to help remake the film, even if it means navigating a world of cynical producers, egomaniacal directors, and surreal fan conventions. Demons of the past be damned. But at what cost? So I love cursed movie books. I like Silver Lining by Silvia Moreno Garcia, Burn the Negative by Josh Winning. There's one short story in Gamma Files, In Our Endlessness Our End, featuring a cursed movie. I really, really do like cursed movies. And I really do like Paul Tremblay. He's the author of A Head Full of Ghosts and A Cabin at the End of the World, which I haven't read, but I read The Beast You Are, his short story collection, which I like quite a lot. I think this is a great collection. I read this one last year. It came out last year. And yeah, I'm really excited for Horror Movie, which will be coming out on June 11th by William Morrow. And yeah, those are the books I'm most excited for in the first half of 2024. Are you excited for the same books? Have I missed some? Are you excited for different books? Please let me know in the comments.